over, still 27 for 3. Wilka will walk back to their fielding position with a bounce in her stride, having bagged all the 3 wickets to 4. Well, no bowling changes yet, as the opening combo that has been successful for Namibia will continue to operate. Saima comes back for her third, and you'll know that she just simply needs to do a supportive role, as Vilka is simply doing all the damage from the other end. Absolutely, Davis. Saima will have something to do with her economy at the moment. She conceded 12 in the first 2 overs. And she would like to bring that down significantly if she's going to offer any kind of assistance to Vilka. And that's not a bad way to start. Starts with a dot ball, keeping Pooja very quiet. I tell you what, Davis, the run rate is still very impressive, and that is due to the fact that that Nepal got off the blocks quite quickly. But things have gone so quiet since then. Another dot ball. Yeah, no, Ivan, that statistic I was giving you, it's still just 8 runs. Last time I talked about. And that's exactly 20 balls. They've scored 18 runs. They've scored 8 runs off the last 20 deliveries. That clearly will be an indication of some work to do by the Nepalese mid-order. Cuts powerfully. Manages to squeeze a single. Good fielding there too. Manages to prevent potentially a boundary, because that ball, had it gone to the left or to the right, the narrative would be completely different. But yeah, if she manages to keep out the next 3 balls, if Saima manages to keep them quiet, the over will be productive as well. And that would put further nails into the progress of Nepal. Let's see how she deals with these next 3 balls. Very well driven there by Romat. Hasn't been there for too long, but you see some good skill there to lean on the front foot and drive that. Was not able to get that into the gap. Couldn't beat the Yasmin Khan, who is waiting there in that extra cover region. But I'll tell you a thing or two about Namibian size. They're always very well drilled. They go into tournaments being very well prepared, and they know exactly what they're doing. Too much weight there. Saima very lucky to get away with that one. I know it's International Women's Day, but we obviously must give credit to the 2 gentlemen standing out there in the red shirts and black trousers. Patrick Makumbi, the main umpire, in your frame there. Together, Simon Chintu, the leg umpire. Farewell ball yet again from Saima. She's stringing together dot balls. And with that dot ball brings an end to the power play. Nepal at 28 for 3 after 6. Highlights of the first power play. See how the wickets fell. First wicket going by the route of bowled. Boundaries there. Some more fortuitous than anything else. Another big one down the ground there. That is what sealed the power play. Very well struck there behind point for 4 runs. Good catch by the fielder there in that cover region. Beautifully taken. That was clipped off, unfortunately. She ricocheted onto the leg stump. And that brought an end to those highlights of the power play of Nepal. And yet again, Suna Wittmann continues to throw the ball to Vilka. Her prime opening bowler is bowling her 4th and final over in this particular match. Starts off with a dot ball. There is a change in the commentary box as Ivan Thawithamwina takes a break. I welcome Michael Grace Ndiko into the commentary box.
Thank you, Davis. How was your afternoon? Not too bad, can't complain. I think the weather is fantastic, not too hot. Bit of a chilly breeze, you will say, obviously blowing across the ground from that Lake Victoria itself. Other than that, I'm really not complaining. I'm all right.
I guess Vilka would as well agree with you because looks like it is a good bowler's paradise for a little moment. Having already picked her 3 in just 3.2 overs.
Yes, Mike, I would like to ask how your afternoon is going. We last saw you, obviously, you were out there with the 2 captains at the toss. What did you make of the wicket? What did it look like to you, especially based on your wealth of knowledge? What would you have done and what would you think would be the reasonable total to look at?
Well, Davis, indeed, during the toss, the captain of Nepal said they would look to target about 110, 120. And surely the wicket seems to be offering fair conditions for either whoever applies themselves better. But clearly right now, the bowler Vilka is, she's really been the one on top of the day as well. But earlier on, as we saw in the power play, in the earlier overs, it was possible to apply oneself and get some runs going into this particular inning.
Bit of a glass there, you would say, by the batter. Ramat is underway with that little glance to square leg. There's obviously work to do for the mid-order batters of Nepal. They'll know that their team is in a bit of a spot of bother, but they need to hang in there, but for at least another 4 to 5 overs without necessarily looking too much at the scoreboard. If they can get to that 50 mark by the 12th over, in my opinion, it will give themselves a chance to have set themselves a launch pad to try and make full use of the latter overs. But in contrast, Namibia continuing to tighten that noose over the Nepalese batters.
There is definitely, there is a stronghold on the game as of the last couple of overs by Namibia's bowlers. And that said as well, you mentioned about the wicket. I think it's just like the typical Entebbe conditions. It tends to offer better conditions in the afternoon for batting, considering the bit of the baking of the ground. But yes, that brings us to 31 for 3 after 7 overs.
Batting card, Samjana started things off, got 80, quick fire 18 of 11. Robina was sent packing very early. She faced only 2 deliveries. Puja is still out there, 5 of 12. Captain Indu Bama was sent back to the heart, scored only 2 of 11. Roma is still out there on 1 of 6. So the score so far is 31 for 3 after 7. Unfamiliar tactics here from Wittmann. But she does recognize that she is in cruise control here, as our opening bowlers have done an exceptional job. And she opts not to make the bowling change perhaps that the Nepalese were waiting for, and allows Sayama, who has bowled exceptionally well, to continue and bowl her final over of this particular game. One could argue the opening bowlers of Namibia have literally taken the game away. They have blown the Nepalese batters away.
You know, Davis, this is an interesting display of cricket indeed. Only it can only be acclaimed for the Women's Day Cup indeed, because having had the first 2 overs going about 18, almost 9 and over, and then pulling it back to only 33 after 7.2 overs is quite a story to write home about the kind of tactics and character of these 2 particular opening pair of bowlers for Namibia.
Yes, you're spot on, Mike. I think it was a power play of 2 contrasts. Namibia pulling things back after Nepal had gotten off to a flyer, beautifully cut there, unable to pierce the gap. And that's kept in by the fielders. The in-ring, I've liked the fact that the fielders of Namibia have stayed on the ring. They have not spread the field out, so they have not allowed for any free, simple singles for the Nepalese to take. They've kept the field tight. Even when they know that they're done with the power play, they have the option of, you would say, sending a couple of fielders to the boundary, but they have not done that. Opted to keep the pressure on. And the pressure is continuing to mount as they string together a number of dot balls, Mike.
Wow, this is very good to see by Saima to Hadeleni, because even in her final over, she's still fielding off her own bowling with such grit and stamina, and it's only a testament to what kind of character she is as a bowler, having backed up her partner in this particular opening pair of bowlers. It's just amazing to see.
Another full and straight delivery. And again from Saima, continuing to string together dot balls. Fielding off her own bowling. Pressure is being built, but I like that in-ring, that very tight field on the offside. No easy singles on offer here for the Nepalese. One delivery to go. Very well struck there by the batter. This time goes over the infield, manages to get that into that outfield and gets 2 runs to the total. And with that double, brings an end to the 8th over. Nepal 35 for 3.
Davis, as a former captain yourself of the Cricket Cranes, I know you must have been a strict or a stickler for positive and attacking fielding. You wouldn't easily give away that extra single just to open up the field because the power play is done.
I never ever believed that you needed to be defensive to actually win too many games. I always felt the best of our defense is literally to attack. So just try and make things as hard as possible for opposition teams. But there's obviously a forced change. The fact that Vilka had completed her quarter of the 4 overs. In comes Sylvia. Starts by bowling that one down the leg side. That's a judged wide. But Mike, just to remind you and maybe pick on your recollection of the events when you played as well for Uganda against Nepal, I keep looking around the ground waiting for that big Nepalese fan base to show up. Every time a Nepal cricket team is playing, there are always quite a number of fans out there to cheer their team, support their team, and make sure that their 12-man presence is actually felt. So I keep waiting to see. Maybe word has not yet gotten to the Nepalese that are actually living in Uganda, that a cricket team is playing cricket in Uganda.
You know, Davis, now that you mention, it's actually even more than the actual residents within a particular country. They had their traveling fans, kind of like what you'd call a Bami army for the English soccer. They would always follow up with their team. And who knows, maybe today was Women's Day, it's a public holiday. Probably we might see them tomorrow onwards into the week. But another quick single there, and it's also adjudged the wide of Sylvia. And it seems to be giving the Nepalese batters the much needed room for breath, because the stronghold had become quite visible as the runs had literally dried out. But now it's beginning to turn a bit.
That's yet again struck down there to that wide fine leg region. They scamper through for 2 runs. Bit of relief, as you did say, Sylvia is not good in her radar on. Something that her captain Wittmann would have loved her to continue the fine work that the opening bowlers did. It's key that Sylvia does not release that pressure that was heavily built by the opening bowlers.
Well, Davis, it will remain to be seen if Sona Wittmann will keep her faith in her bowler Sylvia, because she's bowled quite a few loose ones and trying to give the momentum back to Team Nepal, who much more needed this particular period of play, because net run rate, I beg your pardon, the actual run rate has gone back to 5, yet it had really slowed down in the last couple of overs.
loud shot for LBW. But looking at that replay, clearly drifting down the leg side. Easy decision there for Simon Chintu. But the field will tell you a thing or two that has been set. Wittmann has opted to send that deep square leg fielder down to the boundary to patrol that region. It will tell you that the bowler seems to operate around that leg stump line. The mid-on and mid-off are in the ring. It will also tell you that the bowler will bowl a lot more on the shorter side, which could be the relief that obviously Nepal needed and will be hoping to make full use of.
Again, another one down the leg, keeping the umpire busy. Well, it's Women's Day, I guess. Simon, you have to keep working today. But it's not looking so good for Team Namibia, and I'm sure Wittmann Sone will really want to have a little conversation with her bowler, Sylvia's Shihepo.
Much better lines there from Sylvia. Slightly bit of a difficult start. She's in the halfway stage. Oh, it's just 2 deliveries to go. She's considered 8 runs. She will know that she should be looking to just look to close out this over, not consider any more runs. And not let the Nepalese get out of trouble, you would say. Short delivery there down the leg side. That's walked down to that vacant mid-wicket region. Work to do for the fielder there. Fielder does excellently and keeps that just to 2 runs. As I told you, Mike, the field set will give you a bit of a hint of what the bowler is going to do with the mid-on and mid-off up and a deep square leg fielder down to tell you that the bowler is going to bowl largely on the shorter side but towards the leg stump, and that's exactly what is happening.
And it becomes quite a big test for a bowler. It becomes quite a big test for the bowler because most of the batters are more comfortable playing off their feet, and that brings it's at 46-4-3 after the 9 overs.
As there is a forced bowling change yet again from the golf course end, following the fact that Saima had bowled out her quarter. Arasta is the bowler. She bowls medium pace. She is the bowler that has been tasked to come and bowl from that end. I must say, I'm a little bit surprised that the slow bowling option of Green has taken a bit of a while, especially based on what we saw in the first game. But Mike, I don't think we should go any further without thanking the home boards of the 4 nations. Short delivery, asking to be hit. Hit it is. And sets down to that vacant region at mid-wicket. 4 runs to the total of Nepal. And with that boundary brings the 50-run mark for Nepal. They will know that they are cruising and they are recovering. Short delivery there. Very well struck by the batter. The bowling changes, Mike, are bringing the rewards that the Nepalese did want.
You almost wonder whether it was a waiting game all along, because Nepal, having lost those early 3 wickets, you felt like probably they were saying we'll just recover in the next period of the game, and that seems to be the case.
Beautiful response from Arasta. She overcorrects and cleans up. Puja is sent back to the hut after contributing 13 off 20. She had just muscled a short delivery to mid-wicket, but that's very well bowled yet again by Arasta. Cleans up, full and straight, little bit of swing, inward swing, and managed to clip that leg stump. But with that wicket, brings a bit of that break we talk about for the teams to take a drink.
teams returning from that little break. It has always been very warm over here in Kampala, in Entebbe, in Uganda generally. So it's good to see that there is an opportunity to take some water and be able to hydrate. But again, thanks to the home boards of Nepal, the cricket home board, and thanks to the Capricorn Eagles home board that is in Namibia, and thanks to the Hong Kong home board, and of course, last but not least, thanks to the Uganda Cricket Association for putting together such a great tournament, which is the Women's Day Cup, strictly for the ladies, and it's very good. Davis, welcome back from that little break.
Thank you very much. Looks like we're not the only ones that went for the break. But Rasta, who had clean bowled the batter before, this time starts off with a wide delivery down the leg side. But the batter in for Nepal is Kabita. With a job to do, she'll know that it's just a touch under the 10 overs that have been batted so far by Nepal, so she has a lot of time to play herself in and perhaps look to go big at the back end of the inning.
No, Davis, these Nepal batters have really showed a lot of grit and character in their approach. They seem to always come back strong whenever the opportunity calls for and whenever the moment arises.
Mike, I'm very sure you need no reminder about the character of Nepalese. The fighting spirit that they do possess. Even when their back's against the wall, they'll always come out and put their best foot forward. They're a very difficult team to play against because they wear their hearts on the sleeves and they play for that country of theirs.
I know, Davis, I saw one of the shots reading the name of Kadka, and I thought that shouldn't have sent some shivers down your spine, but I know it's a good memory you have of Nepal always. But this is very good for women's cricket, especially here in Africa. Being able to host such teams here in Africa, it's a good test, and that brings us to the end of the over at 53 for 4. Kylie Green shall be the change in bowling from the airport end.
Familiar face here at the Entebbe Cricket Oval, obviously. To say the Capricorn Eagles have played at Entebbe before. And it's familiar, obviously, to see Kylie Green continue to bowl her off spinners with that cap of hers. Half chance, you would say. But they managed to scamper through for a single. Kylie is a batter. Usually bats in the top order, but she's also very handy in the mid order. That mid order for the Capricorn Eagles. And I kid you not, she's more than a handy off spinner. She does get some patches out of the wicket. On top of her being a wicket keeper, that's how much skill she does possess. She's also a sister to Green, who actually is a wicket keeper of the current Namibia men's side. So it is a family affair.
Indeed, cricket runs in the family, and it is always great to see particular families offering their service to the game of cricket. But you mentioned Kylie Green, and I'm remembering also Immaculate Nakisui, now also a top order batter, but with her spinners was able to get just some good bowling into the game.
Attempted slog there from Kabita, trying to hit that straight over Kylan Green's head. Hit that to the screen, didn't get the much needed timing, got more of the inside half of the bat. Very well played there, big dive there by Yasmin Khan. She's an electric fielder in that region. And she has clearly saved at least 2 runs for her side.
That is absolutely heartfelt fielding from Green. She will be very happy with her fielder because indeed cricket is that kind of team sport.
Mike, are you getting that sixth sense feeling as I am? I just look at the way Kabita is lining herself up, setting herself up. She looks like she wants to go for the big slog.
Well, I know some other off spinners who would literally look to even change. But that brings us to the end of the 11th over at 56 for 4.
Now Rasta will continue to operate from the golf course end. Bit of a mixed over in her first. Picking up that 1 wicket, went for 7 runs. Should want to reduce, obviously, on the runs that she gave away.
Arasta is just one of those other bowlers that embody the very psyche of the team. They come steaming in and with a lot of attitude written all over the face, and they show you they are just here to try and topple over the batter. But it's good to see a little contest there between the bat and ball.
Very well played there by the batter. I think Roma is playing a very good glue-like kind of inning so far. She's on 9 of 16 balls. So she's done a bit of a repair job, you would say, for Nepal. And they'll be hoping that she looks to continue that till at least the 18th or 17th over to give her and the rest of her teammates a chance to go big and try to get that 90-run mark.
It's always good to see the bowlers demonstrating their confidence and trust in their skill and ability to really still come and bowl at the stumps and try to limit the scoring options for the batters. And that, indeed, at this level is what makes this game very interesting.
Bit sloppy there in the field. Fielder there in covers, letting that go through. Cost Namibia just 1 run. But a run, obviously, Nepalese would not mind. They just need to get to that 90-run mark. They'll feel that perhaps with what we saw in the earlier match, the slowness in the wicket, we saw how much the spinners got patches. They'll feel if you get to that 90-run mark, you might have a chance of actually picking up a victory.
Clearly, the umpire feels that was continuing on its way down the leg. But you do mention something interesting, Davis, about the spinners and all the slower bowlers getting patches on the wicket. However, this time, Namibia has, apart from Green, it has been mainly pace all through.
Full on wide delivery to close off that 12th over. And after 12, it is 58 for 4, Nepal.
Kaylin Green continuing on the airport end. And with her continuing the bowling, we had some change in commentary here, thanks to Davis Karashan, who will take a little break. And at that point, we have Ivan Tawitamwira coming in to join me in the comment. Welcome, Ivan.
Thank you very much, Power Mike. Power Mike. All of the power in the world belongs to Power Mike. It's interesting to see how Kabita has gone about her business, demonstrating a lot of power, and you don't want to be messing around her if you're the bowler. And so Kaylin also has responded quite well, staying away largely from her hitting arc. And slow, oh, there she goes. Bangs one down the ground. Oh, goes down for 4. Very, very good work from Kabita. All of her power on display. She picks up another 4. Score comes to 62 for 4.
Sunai Vetman, the captain, must be cross with herself for that, because she made a very good effort but just lost that ball at the last moment, and it went past her. And also our photographer just outside also had to take some evasive action, but a very good shot there from Kabita.
Mike, could you please tell me, is it the case of the outfield? There we see another misfield. Could we say it's a case of a very bad outfield surface, or is it just poor fielding from the teams?
Well, I wouldn't want to commit, Ivan, but I'm imagining the outfield looked quite well, but it's just one of those things along the way during the innings where either team, the fielders, seem to just have that lapse almost in concentration. But speaking of lapses in concentration, Roma, after doing a great job, has just given it away and gifting Green, the spinner there, with a catch to the captain, Vitman. And that means that Nepal will now be at 63 for 5 after 12.4 overs.
Big wicket there. Kaylin Green picks up another wicket for Namibia, consolidating the work that Namibia has been doing all the while, flighting one up. Slog sweep comes into play, but can only go as far as mid-on. Walks back to the tent, managing to only score, leaving Nepal at only 63 for 5. From this point on, Nepal would look to see if they could get to the 90-run mark or the 100-run mark to justify their credentials. But Kaylin Green will be very happy with their efforts at the moment.
Indeed, it's been a game of two tails. At each point, the seesaw seems to swing either way. At one point, you would think it's going Nepal's way, then Namibia would pull it back. So this seesaw affair has been very interesting, Ivan, to the point right now that the game seems to be well poised with exactly 7 overs, 0.1 balls to go. You would really relish, especially halfway the stage with the resources in batting. You would imagine Nepal would want to now look to target at least 90 runs, but it's also quite high up there on in the asking.
That wicket brings Raj Mati and brings also the end of the over, the 13th over. Score is 63 for 5. Start of a new over. There's a lot of weight on Kabita's shoulders now to try and steer the course of Nepal's innings. She has to lead them to a very defendable total at the moment. But all that weight is on her shoulders. And we also see a bowling change. Makelai comes into the attack. Left arm spinner. Slow bowling, Mike, has been quite difficult to negotiate on this surface, as we saw from the first game, and even from this one. Let's see how Kabita deals with that one. What she does powerfully. Hits the sweeper. Tempted run there. only yields a single.
Well, like we mentioned earlier on, Ivan, it looks like Namibia seems to have their trust in their pace bowlers in spite of the conditions. But it will be good to see what Mwatilai will be doing here, Vilka. Mekem Mwatilai coming on right here in the 14th over, left-arm orthodox. It is always a very great proposition, especially when you have right-hand batters. But now this may not be necessarily the matchup with Rajmatia Arai, who is also left-arm bat. So it will be good to see how this little battle unfolds.
Absolutely, Mike. Left-hand bowler, left-hand bat. Ideally, not the situation you like. You'd ideally like the left-hander bowling to the right-handed batsman. But nonetheless, she's doing a good job of it. Mikaelae, 2 dot balls in a row. With every dot ball, pressure mounts. And of course, inevitably, that builds pressure. So it will be left to Rajmati to deal with this kind of situation. She gets one flighted, dips into her feet. Another dot ball.
It's good to see how this inning is unfolding because either way, each team seems to be within their particular game plan as they had intended. However, at the end of the day, it will remain to be seen who gets to their particular closer to their particular target because right now the spinners seem to be taking the day.
Mikaelae is actually bowling the Chinaman stuff. But of course, she's struggling with her control there. Almost pitched it on the second wicket. Posing tough questions. Ooh, beaten all ends up is Rajmati. And that's the trick, Mike, with left-hand Chinamen. It poses all kinds of problems to batters. Picks one up. The Chinaman is giving problems to the batter, and subsequently, wicket number 6 has gone down. Caught and bowled, very brilliant off her own bowling. Creates the chance and takes it herself. 66 for 6. Rajmati begins her long walk back to the tent. Miserable one at that. Playing across the line of the ball, inducing the outside edge. And that's it for her for this day. Oh, not so nice news for her to write home about. That brings Rachana Kumari to the wicket. I think Nepal finds themselves in all sorts of trouble at the moment. 66 for 6. Namibia applying the brakes to the proceedings. I tell you, Kabita still has a lot of work to do, and what they've done very well, Mike, is for all that time they've kept Kabita off strike.
And Kylie Green continues to do her mop-up job and making sure that she keeps a hold onto proceedings in this game. But Ivan, actually, you're right. I got that wrong about the left-arm bowler being left-arm orthodox. She's actually China. Maybe today being Women's Day, we should call her China woman. I wonder, but it's very interesting to see how that goes into the next levels of their game, especially in this particular level beyond associates as well.
I think Namibia has put a tighter grip on the game at the moment. Kaylin keeping the work very clean. 3 dot balls and a loose one down the leg. Hit away, put away by Kabita. Challenging the boundary fielder. A deep square leg. Managed 2 runs. Nepal gets 2 more, adds 2 more to their tally.
It's good to see the contest and the intensity in the game. It has been maintained all through this particular the innings of the Nepalese, and that remains to be seen. how the finishing touches will come to this particular inning.
Wow, is that a chance? No, not a chance. You see now indecision in running, and that is caused by pressure. Pressure will make you do all sorts of things. But I think, Mike, on this kind of wicket where the ball is not getting a lot of bounce, instead of actually playing the pull shot off the spinner, you're much better off sweeping it, because then you've covered the bounce and the trajectory of the bounce. And that brings the end to their 15th over. Score is still 68 for 6. Mikelai comes back. She will continue. Let's see how Rachana deals with the Chinaman. Whoa, knocks. Absolutely knocked out of the ground again. Doesn't know how to deal with this. Mikelai can prove to be a handful at the moment. 68 for 7 is the score. Completely playing round that one. Missing it entirely. Both her middle stump and off pause disturbed.
Remember that name, Ivan. Remember that name. Mekelai Mwatile. China woman for the day today being Women's Day. Probably we may need to apologize, but that is quite an interesting display. She's been able to bowl to the left hand and also to the right hand, picking wickets off both. And that brings her actual figures at 3 for 2 in 1.1. Quite an impressive performance there from the young lady.
That's remarkable, Mike, to think that she's picked up 2 wickets already in her spell so far. It indeed spells doom for the Nepalese. At the moment, they don't seem to have an answer to whatever Mikelai has to offer. She has firmly stepped on the brake pad. Nepal doesn't seem to be heading anywhere at the moment. It will be very difficult to see how Nepal recovers from this kind of position. It will take a lot of character from both Kabita and Alicia, who has just walked in and faced her solitary ball.
Every young lady, girl out there, this is how you go about the game of cricket, especially as a bowler. Keep it tidy and keep discipline, keep consistent, and the results will be yours, as Mekelai Mwatile seems to be saying. And let's see what response Kabita will offer. Kabita Joshi.
Kabita must be feeling the full weight of the entire Nepalese team on her shoulders. It's very important how she navigates the next couple of overs, couple of balls, especially from Mekelai, because Mekelai is on top of her game at the moment, just conceding 1 and picking up a wicket in her allotment so far. And she keeps inducing the big shot from Kabita. It's not easy to get the big ones in Entebbe, as we all know. Very tidy work from Namibia.
You just have to love this young lady, the way she's committed and spirited in her game. But that brings up 69 for 7 after 16.
Kaylin Green to continue from the airport end. Kabita has to manage these remaining overs very smartly. Hog much of the strike as much as she can and keep the new batsmen off the strike. if they have to give themselves a decent chance to get a good score. How she manages this situation is entirely going to reveal what kind of character she has. And I think the wise thing for her would be to take much of the strike from now onward.
Kylie Green continuing with her disciplined, and maybe I just spoke a little too early there, but her off spinners have really been her go-to, because with the figures of 10 for 1 after 3.1, it speaks quite a lot to her disciplined bowling today.
There goes another one. The pressure is mounting. The cooker is boiling so hot for the Nepalese at the moment, and they can't take the pressure. Kylie Green registers her own credentials with another wicket. And off walks Alicia Kumar. She has only lasted for 3 balls. And her sojourn to the wicket comes to an abrupt end.
Ivan, that is the kind of discipline I was talking about. Just continuing on with her business of the off spinners, cramping Rachana Kumari there for space, and she tries to have us swing over the inner field, and that brings a wicket, and with that wicket brings in Ishori to the middle. Ishori Bis for Nepal right now, having lost 70, having scored 70 and lost 8 wickets.
Kylie's figures look very beautiful at the moment, conceding 11 runs in her 3.2, picking up 2 wickets along the way. And we can see, Mike, that the slow bowling has done the trick again in this game, as well as it did in the first one. Another dot ball to emphasize this particular subject we are talking about. I think the slow bowlers have a lot to say in the duration of this tournament. And I think the team that deals with the slow bowling better as batters will be able. Another one in the air, falls in no man's land. Cleaned up there for only 1 single. Mike, like I was saying, I think the team that bats better against slower bowlers will be able to have very good results at the end of the tournament.
Absolutely, Ivan. It's more about the application and execution, how one goes about their business, a bit like what Kabita has been doing. However, there is much more needed, because Kabita Joshi seems to be running out of partners at the other end.
She's left all of 2 balls for Ishwari. I think Kabita has to be very calculating from here. Face 4 or 5 balls every over, given that it's only, after this one, there will only be 2 overs left. A very well-educated edge there. They pick up 2. Two much-needed runs for Nepal at the moment. End of over number 17. Score is 74 for 8. Namibia keeping a very tight lead on proceedings, denying Nepal any kind of opportunity to run away with it. They've created all kinds of doubt in Nepalese minds, the Namibians. So let's see how Kabita responds in this kind of situation, facing up against the Chinaman.
Ivan Mekelai Mwatile is the lady at the middle there. And it is indeed a rotational strike, effectively exposing Ishori Bita to be Ishori Base to be the one to face the rest of the 5 balls. And that will be quite a big test, considering how the other wickets have been falling off Mekelai's bowling. But just maybe we may be in for a surprise.
Misses that entirely, Ishwari. Mekelai is right on top of the game. She has all the Nepalese batters wondering what's going on. The Chinaman is going all over the surface to to the effect that they can't even put away the full toss at the moment. I think Kabita needs to hog much of the strike. That was pumped down the ground, still for a single. I think Nepal would dearly love it that she keeps on strike and offers cover to Ishwari, who has just come in, who seems to be struggling with Mekalai at the moment. There you go, another dot ball from Mekalai.
It will remain to be seen. Of course, Mekalai will still have one more over even after this one. But the remaining two balls, will they be dot balls or will there be a rotational strike? All that remains to be seen.
Full toss. Ishwari can't put that away. We've seen so many of those today, Mike, and they've all not been put away effectively. Picks that one up very well. Still for one. Power behind it wasn't sufficient enough to take it over the ropes, but nonetheless they pick up a single.
Surely with that power hitting, it has brought an end to the over, and it is at 78 for 8 after 18 overs.
End of 18, beginning of the 19th. Bowling change brings Arasta back to see if she can clean up the tail. It will be left to see how Ishwari handles this kind of bowling. Obviously, the China lady or Chinaman bowler was giving her all sorts of problems. And I also want to welcome Davis back into the box. Davis, welcome back.
Thanks a lot, Ivan. I see a lot was happening while I was away, and yet again, beautifully struck there. Vakal region, and it's 4 valuable runs to the Nepalese total. Takes the total to 82 runs with 11 deliveries to go. Nepal will know that any run that they get at this particular stage is of immense value. Leans on that one, big dive there by Yasmin Khan, but unable to get hand to it. Big effort there by Wittmann. Nearly took out the camera lady there, Aisha Nakato.
Aisha would be very well advised to maybe put on some kind of blue and join the fielding side, because she was in a very good position to cut off that boundary. She only needed 1 or 2 steps. But good comeback from Arasta. Creates a dot ball there. Looks like all the batters enjoy the pace on the ball. Another one driven down the ground for just 1. Davis, what have you made of what we've seen so far? Spin and pace bowling so far, how the batsmen have found the two entities?
I think generally, just looking at how day one has literally It's the second. That's hit hard yet again by Kabita. They continue to rotate strike. Valuable runs here. But Ivan, just to answer your question, when you just look at what has transpired on day one of the Women's Day Cup, you just get a feeling that it's the slower bowlers generally that have troubled the batters. With the exception of Vilka, she's literally been the only seamer that has managed to get some penetration. Very well struck it again behind square on the offside there, running down the boundary. Does it have the legs? Yes, it does. Fielder Kylian Green unable to keep that in. 4 valuable runs. And the Nepalese dugout understand the value in that. 4 valuable runs.
Absolutely. Pierces the gap, collects 4 of them, adds 4 to the tally. Scorecard looks a bit more decent than it was a couple of overs ago. And I think Nepal will be glad to see that the scorecard has improved on its entire outlook. Dot ball to seal the over but 10 runs coming off of that over, Davis.
And with the final 6 deliveries of this inning coming up, everyone have just been discussing and perhaps taking a few bets. But if you understand the team blueprint of Nepal cricket, I expect to find a left-arm spinner, an off spinner, and possibly a leg spinner in this squad. If they do possess those could be some very big players. That's hit handsomely back to the bowler. Didn't get hands to it. Hits right through the stumps. The batters do not even attempt to run the single.
Seem to claim a run out there. Was how bad? Well, out was up in the air, actually. Needs another examination. Unfortunately, there is no third umpire. Slow bowling is causing all sorts of problems, Davis.
Yeah, that's literally been it, at least on day one of this Women's Day Cup. Seen the slow bowling trouble a lot of the batters, but you can see the batter, Kapita, is going very deep in her crease.
Gets cleaned up by Mekalai. Mekalai has had a day to remember. Fantastic figures. She picks up her third for only 8 runs, and the slowness of the ball again, causing all sorts of problems. Kapita had no answer to this one on this occasion. She's proved to be the player of the moment so far, Mekalai.
Goes ways enough stump to try and open up that vacant mid-wicket region. Good intent, but misses it completely. That slowness in that delivery. But she's played a handy knock for her team. Valuable runs. They will know that if they can just look to skittle and get right over that 90-run mark. I feel like based on what the wicket is playing like, I think they should feel they have just enough. But otherwise, she's done a very good job for her side. With just 3 deliveries to bring to an end of this first inning, I'd imagine the equation should be simple to try and get at least 6 runs from these final 3 deliveries.
Spot on, Davis. Target so far is to just try and get 2 runs from the remaining 3 balls. Get to that psychological 90-run mark. Sweeps it powerfully deep into mid-wicket. Will they get the 2 required runs? Keep it down to 1. I tell you, Mekalai has asked all sorts of questions, and the Nepalese have failed to answer back in equal measure. But nonetheless, she has done a tidy job for her team. I don't think the captain would ask for much more. That one is pumped the ground too. Tidied up by the field at the deep. Manages to concede only 1. Get to that 91-run mark. It's only a balls to spare in this inning. It would be nice to put the icing on the cake from the Nepalese point of view.
The scamper through for a single, a bit untidy there by the bowler, unable to keep that in. Run out opportunity, bullseye it is. 92 will be the final score, final total for Nepal. They will be glad to have gotten to that total. Great run out there. But I think Wittmann, who managed to complete that run out, you can see the intent from the batters, trying to scamper and pick as many as they can on that final delivery. No backup there, but Wittmann does the excellent job, backs up and cleans that up, direct hit. 92 is the easy decision for Patrick Makumbi. Brings an end to the Nepal inning. 92 runs for all outs in the allotted 20 overs. During the batting cut there, some Jhana managed to get a quick fire, 18 of 11. Rubina was sent back the heart, didn't trouble the scorers. Puja, 13 of 20. Captain Indu got 2 of 8. Roma got 9 of 19. Kabita, hand of 16 of 12, 31. Aire Bowling cut there, pick of the bowlers. Vilka got 3 wickets, conceded just 17 runs. Saima conceded 17. Sylvia bowled 1 over, conceded 11 runs. Arasta conceded 19, picked 1 wicket. Green, the pick of the bowlers, picked up 2 wickets, 15 runs. And the young left-arm orthodox, 12 runs, picked up 3 wickets, restricting Nepal to 93 all out. The highlights package there, the batter was cleaned up by a beauty from Vilma. That was handsomely hit down to the vacant deep square leg region. Yet again, big inside edge, got 4 runs there. But there was another big booming drive, went over the infield, picked up 4 runs, then hit that one straight to the fielder waiting cover. Oh, that was hit behind the fielder for 4 runs. Catch was taken in covers, good catch there by the youngster Rasta. That came off the toe crusher, ricocheted onto the stumps. Big shot there by the batter. Then she was cleaned up, next delivery by Arasta. Kylie Green came into the attack.